Okay, good morning. Welcome to day 16 then, our first 20-minute meditation. So well done on getting this far. So from here on in, we meditate 20 minutes every day. This is the maximum time, if you like. Well, I don't think he really puts a maximum on it, but this is the upper limit of the recommended time by Dr. Benson. He said 10 to 20 minutes, and this is the minimum required time by the Transcendental Meditation movement. They say 20 minutes. Actually, they encourage twice a day. So now we're right there. We're right in that zone. One of my early teachers of Tai Chi, he said, takes the mind about 20 minutes to settle down. He'd noticed with his students. So it seems to be this 20-minute window is the place. So it only gets better from here. I wanted to share with you this morning a continuation of the fight and flight versus relaxation response, what we found out in recent years and how that works, at least how it works in relation to the brain. So there are two parts of the brain I'm going to talk about. One's the amygdala, which is about here in our primitive brain, connected to where our spine comes in. And then the other one is the prefrontal cortex up here. This is the part that makes us human, if you like, that took us out of being Neanderthal and brought us into being human. And this part is the very old, you could almost say reptilian brain, the part in us that just doesn't think, but unfortunately is still quite active. So it's good for fighting and fleeing. It's great for getting us out of danger. But the challenge is these days we don't live with a saber-toothed tiger around the corner. But this older part of our brain still behaves, or can still behave, as though everything that's a threat is a threat to our life, when it's not really. So if we lost our phone, or someone cut us off in traffic, or we're having a disagreement with our husband, with our wife, with our partner, the older part of our brain would see that as a reason to fight or flee. And then the blood rushes away from the brain out into the extremities, ready to run or fight. And if it runs away from the brain, we're suddenly not so smart. The other part of our brain, which we probably would like to be in control more of the time, is this prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex, it has what they call executive function, and it has the ability, this is the most, I suppose, powerful part here, it has the ability to supervise, if it's strong enough and active enough in us, it has the ability to supervise the amygdala back here. So for most of us, most of the time, when the amygdala gets fired up, it also can want the new shiny thing. It doesn't matter what it is. Or in my case, it wants the cream cake, or the chocolate, or the third piece of whatever. And it has no ability in the moment to determine the long-term consequences of my immediate actions, or that might relate to my putting away something for the future financially. It doesn't care. It wants that new shiny thing, and it's very driven by dopamine. There's the chemical dopamine that when it's released, it makes us very alert, and we really desire that thing, whatever it is. But without this executive control, this executive function from, I suppose, you might say it seems a little more boring. This would be the rational side of us, and this is the fired up desire side, which is lovely. But what can happen if there's a nice balance between the two? Then this executive control, which you could say maybe like is our accountant, accountants, but is the accountant that does the long-term planning and no, we won't invest there. Let's put our time over here. You can use the power of the amygdala and its desire to want something, with the combined executive function of seeing the long-term effects And you can actually control in a little way, or direct the amygdala's desire. You can encourage it to desire things that are really positive for you. So desire to feel vital in your body, or desire to have those savings that are going to return you a nice, give you a nice return, which allows you to be financially free at an earlier age, as opposed to have the cream cake now, which is going to make me feel rotten tomorrow, and spend the money on the thing which seems good right now, and no, that's set back my plans. So you probably know what I'm going to say next. We do have that ability to get the executive function, the creative function, the rationality, and the long-term planning from our prefrontal cortex. And we can get it to talk and supervise the amygdala. And the way you can do that, one of the most powerful ways, is meditation. So that's my piece for the day. So let's get ourselves some meditation. We'll settle a little. I'll see if I can calm my amygdala down a bit. I got myself fired up there. We'll roll the neck a little, the shoulders a little. And start to take some deeper breaths. And settle the body. Make sure it's comfortable, whether you're lying or seated, so you can sit comfortably for the next 20 minutes. 20 minutes, here we are. And then start to feel through the body from the ground up. From the feet, from the toes. So I'll guide you through this one today, so that you have a guided 20-minute meditation. And probably from here on, I want to encourage you to begin to guide your own awareness through your own body. But today I'll guide you through. So feet and toes, and into the ankles, and the shins and the calves. We're relaxing, we're releasing, we're opening the different parts of the body as we go. And from the shins and the calves into the knees. And from the knees into the thighs. And from the thighs to the buttocks, to the sit bones if you're sitting. To the hip joints. And to the whole of the pelvic floor. Feel through from your pubic bone, under the base of the torso, between the legs via the perineum, back to the tailbone region, releasing, letting go. And then the whole of the lower abdomen, from your belly button, so including the belly button region, and down, lower abdomen. And feel through the front side of the lower abdomen, the sides of the torso, and the lower back, from the belly button region in the rear, down to connect into the hip bones, the buttocks, the pelvis, tailbone. And then we'll do the same When you're ready, upwards. Again, we'll include the belly button region in the front and the rear, and the same level in the sides of the torso, and we feel up to the base of the rib cage, the upper abdomen. Feel into the front of the upper abdomen, the sides and the rear, the back of the body. And then we'll come to the rib cage. So include the diaphragm, the very base of the rib cage, and begin to feel up through the rib cage, through the whole of the lower ribs, in the front, the sides and the rear. And then the upper rib cage in your armpits, shoulder blade region, the chest and collarbones, and the tops of the shoulders, whole of the upper rib cage. Through the shoulders and the arms, down the arms into the hands and the fingers. And from the fingers back up the arms to the shoulders. And then through the neck and the throat, the back of the neck, the sides of the neck, the front of the neck, the throat, and then the back of the head, the sides of the head, including the ears, the temples, the region above the ears and behind the temples, the sides of the face, and then the lower jaw, the tongue, the gums, the teeth, the lips, the nose and nostril, the cheeks and cheekbones, the eye sockets, the muscles surrounding the eyes, the eyeballs, the eyebrows and the region between the eyebrows, the whole of the forehead, and have a double, triple check of the forehead. And then the whole of the top of the head, the scalp of the head. And we wave our awareness down through the body, back down to our feet. Gently feeling in, monitoring, assessing, releasing, opening, relaxing, letting go. Settling in as we feel all the way down, back to the feet. And again, when you get down to the feet, which might not be yet, as you get down to the feet, when you get there, begin to silently repeat inside over and over your mantra, your word, your phrase. And just as a reminder, if you don't have one, then we use the generic one. We use the word one, the number one. And we repeat over and over. As the mind re-enters, we take a passive approach to the mind. We don't berate ourselves. We don't beat ourselves up. We don't have a go at ourselves inside our head that we've drifted again and I'm not doing this properly. No, we just gently draw the awareness back. Begin repeating the word one again, over and over. Keep focusing on that one. And your first 20-minute meditation officially beginning now. Okay, really well done. 20 minutes. So taking a moment to witness, to observe, to be mindful of the mind, body, and emotions. Letting the thoughts re-enter, releasing the mantra, releasing the repetition of the word. And staying with this practice, this mindfulness practice, this witnessing, observing practice for as long as you like. If you want to move on to imagine your experience, the thing you'd like to have happen, internally or externally, the external experience or the internal experience. Engage as many senses as you can to really fire yourself up about this thing. Be there, be in the experience, having that experience to the best of your ability, and you'll see you'll just get better at it. The more you practice this, your imagination becomes more vivid, it becomes more real. And then when you really feel in your heart that it's a foregone conclusion, it's done, it's as good as here, then you can let it go. And you don't ever have to really work on that again, unless you want to. And then we start to come back. Again, if you're not ready, you can sit for longer. If you're listening to these videos on YouTube, you might turn your autoplay off for future videos if you haven't done so already, so it doesn't roll on and you get blasted out by some adverts. Coming back in your own time. So the first couple of weeks, it's like climbing up the side of a mountain. You've reached the peak, and now it's pretty much plain sailing down the other side. You've formed the habit. That's the hardest part, if there was one. You've dealt with a busy mind. You've climbed the peak to 20 minutes. You can either see it as coming down the other side, or now you get to enjoy the view from the peak. Your amygdala is calming a little bit, your prefrontal cortex coming online, more executive supervisory control of the amygdala, so you can focus it towards the things you desire that are good for you, healthy for you longer term. Thank you very much for joining me again today.